Namaskar viewers. Hello. Welcome to Sattology channel. I have with me my co-host Sharad Mohan, the author of Kashmir, the Bermuda Triangle of India.
Hello, viewers, and namaskar to everybody. So, with me and Adi, the author of Sattology, Debunking Mythology. So, we will be discussing today an important topic of Supreme Court role in the Article 370 and 35A. So, Aditya, you can start, and then I will give my views on it.
Yeah, Supreme Court admitted the petition, and I'm sure that the legality of that will be questioned by the court. But what is the constitution of the bench? That's very important. The constitution of the bench is a five-member panel, and the five-member panel has and they have uh, you all know the five-member panel. Now the parliament passed a change in laws internal to India, and the few people who have petitioned, that includes some of the very important names. The names have not been fully released yet, but some of them from the Congress. So we know that they are affiliated to Indian National Congress, the party of Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. So what are the international ramifications? Me and Sharad will discuss. But so far as international standing goes, the world is supporting India completely. Pakistan is completely outfoxed, and uh, and they're doing pretty destructive work, including one missile test they did, which missile we never flew. So I'll give it to Sharadji. So Sharadji, what is your opinion on the panel, and how's what's going to happen here?
So, Yato Dharmas Tato Jaya. So this is the slogan written in Supreme Court of India in their um, symbol. So if you see Supreme Court of India, this is exactly what's written. So they do talk about dharma here, but Supreme Court of India. So let's quickly get to the topic. So Supreme Court of India is one of the pillar of the Constitution of India. So the three pillars, and press being the fourth one. President and the Parliament, which is the executive, Supreme Court of India, and the press. So the Supreme Court of India can make the laws. It is the guardian of the Constitution. It has to see that the laws framed is not contradicting the Constitution. But any law which the country wants has to be discussed and debated and passed in the Parliament, and then President notifies it. So this is the process. So far, judiciary and executive, which is the parliamentary and the elected people, have not come into direct conflict much, and the constitution maker have given enough scope for check and balance in our Indian constitution, so that the democracy is maintained. Now, in this particular case, what happened was when Article 370 and 35A was abrogated, there were 14 gentlemen in India. They had a different view from the government. Some of them, like as always, the NGOs, the liberal group, the activist lawyers, and few army personnel. Now, these people went to the court, Supreme Court, asking for petition to they filed a petition asking that their petition should be heard on the validity of this whole process. So when they say whole process, they are saying that this is not done as per the Constitution of India. Now, if we all know the way on August 5th, president notifies governor to governor, and governor who was at that time leading the state, because there was no assembly, it was dissolved. He recommended abrogation of these two articles, and then there was a proper debate in the Rajya Sabha for one full day, and then the voting was done, and then with two-third majority it was passed, and the law and this two articles was abrogated. So when the petitioner went to the Supreme Court, the government of India, uh, senator, sorry, lawyer asked Mr. Venugopal asked the Supreme Court, please do not take this case petition because it will send a wrong message to the world and especially the neighbor who is right now in a very hostile mode. But Supreme Court didn't agree to that. They said no, we will still go ahead and listen. Listen to what? Listen to a law which was passed in the parliament, so which is a kind of a conflict situation. But Supreme Court also said that, and they formed a five bench group, Mr. Nasir and Mr. Bopata or somebody who have taken in past stance against the government. So these are the two people, and along with the CGI of India and two more gentlemen. Now, the problem which I see is India is a democracy, and we should definitely. So what happens if you have a prime minister who declares emergency, which country had? We do not want that situation to happen. So there should always be a check and balance. But when something is passed in the parliament, and parliament can only make the law, Supreme Court cannot make the laws, right? So if parliament has made the law, it's an elected government, it's not a minority government with two-third majority, the law has been passed. Supreme Court still went ahead and just for 14 people of the country, they are listening something against the government, which has a lot of ramification and lot of uh, issues which will come up both globally and domestically. Now, we will wait for the hearing to happen. I think the hearing is happening only after the United Nations session, which is in September, happens. So that is one good thing which this is going to happen. Now, I will quickly quote few things. The law declared by the Supreme Court becomes binding on all the courts. So suppose Supreme Court tries to say that no, this was unconstitutional or whatever it says, we don't know what it will hear and what it will say and what exactly which part of the petition they are hearing. Okay, but once something is passed in the Supreme Court, it is binding on these all the lower courts of India and also the union and state government, as per the Article 142. It is the duty of the president then to enforce the decree. So president will then pass a decree of the Supreme Court, and which becomes a law. Now, it's straight away conflicting whether Supreme Court can make a law, but they cannot, right? Now, the second question will be: can Indian Parliament overrule anything which Supreme Court passes? Yes, the Parliament can overrun or dilute the effect of any judgment by amending the law which was challenged and held to be unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Remember, unconstitutional. Even that could be overturned in the Parliament. Okay. However, this practice is not encouraged nor appreciated unless there is a reasonable and urgent ground to do so. Constitution is the goal and the benchmark. So these are the few things which we wanted or the viewers to listen. Now, few interesting things happen in between while this is under review. This petition is under review. One, can Supreme Court decide the functioning of the government? What government should do when the government of the land, which is Jammu and Kashmir magistrate level, they are the guardian. They can know which situation is under control, which situation is not under the control. And if the situation is not under the control, they can put a permanent curfew for certain duration. They can do whatever to save the life of the people, life and property of the land. Okay, so in that context, there were some arrests which happened of the few political leaders and separatists, um, keeping in mind that they may provoke the crowd and people, and the death and all those things will happen because the country has seen this for 70 years. It's not like one fine day. So what Supreme Court did was for two people. There's one gentleman, I think a student who lives in New Delhi. He wanted permission of the Supreme Court to travel to Kashmir in spite of government saying no and meet his family members. So the Supreme Court has allowed this guy. Another thing was few political leaders, including Rahul Gandhi, some DMK leaders from way back in Chennai, the DMK, Mr. Raja from Communist Party, Mr. Yemi, they all went to Srinagar uninvited force themselves, and then they were sent back by the governor and the ruling dispensation there that no, it's not right time to come to this place. Now, Mr. Yechuri went to the Supreme Court. He's one of the petitioner and asked the permission of the Supreme Court to overrule the government's decision and go to Srinagar and meet his party, a party guy who is probably ailing or something. He said, and know his well about. Now, in a country like India, where have we heard where Rahul Gandhi or Mr. Modi will fly and meet somebody in Odisha, Gujarat, or some party worker because he's not available on phone, and even when that state is under the local administration has a curfew. So something very unique decision was given, and Mr. Yachuri is actually he flew to Srinagar yesterday, but with some restriction where he will not talk to media. He will come back and report to the Supreme Court after meeting his friend, and then in an affidavit form, meaning whatever he's doing, it's a legal thing. All his statement will be captured, and then he will probably go and talk to the media. Now, to me, this looks like a two-power center where when an executive or the politician, the lawmakers have made certain decision where they are saying that the situation is not right for people to come. Still, Supreme Court intervened and on a case-by-case basis allowed two gentlemen, one a politician and one a student, to go and meet. Even when so, this is totally interfering or diluting the jurisdiction of the government. Now, uh, I don't know. I'm not a legal expert whether this will be challenged, but the activity has already happened. Government has not reacted so far. I'm surprised, but this is not something very small event. Okay, this is going to have a very lot of repercussion in future. Where Supreme Court is doing this, it has a positive influence also. Suppose tomorrow, suppose a state like say Bihar, and suppose Lalu Prasad or somebody who had more autocratic style, he has done something and center cannot intervene. Or for example, say not Bihar, why to blame that state all the time? Let's go to Bengal, Mamta Banerjee. So Mamta Banerjee, suppose she doesn't allow CBI to enter, or say intelligence agency to enter being a border state, can center then enter into the state without dissolving the state? Probably then these are the example where Supreme Court will be asked to overrule state government, and this is where it's a direct conflict between judiciary and executive, which our constitution maker never thought like this. Okay, so this is where the whole game is. I am only worried that if out of this five bench committee, two people shows dissent and three people passes it in favor of the government, this is still a bad thing for the country. Right now, India is facing internal enemy, external enemy. We people need to come together, but it's not happening.
If there is no country, then what will Supreme Court do?
Yeah, probably they will. Yeah, I don't want to say anything because one good thing they are sitting is on the contempt of court. So I am not able to speak on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I think you put it up very nicely, and I think that's exactly the worry on most of the people, that generally people of India are happy, and if some, and it is a wise decision to repeal Article 370, but if the Supreme Court decides otherwise, then it's a challenging time for the Indian government, and I'm sure they must have planned for it, because Amit Shah did mention that in the parliament, that they're prepared to receive certain couple of lawsuits, not just one. And so let's hope for the best. And I think it's coming up for hearing very soon, next week or following week.
No, it's coming, I think, in October, because September 12th or September something, there's a United Nation hearing of Pakistan again. And it's only after hearing this will start, because that this verdict will be seen by everyone. Even Pakistan has quoted this verdict as well. Court of India saying that this something is not right.
So more drama.
I will correct myself. Supreme Court of India even agreeing to hear something, to them looks like it may be right or wrong. So it's not 100% right. That's what the interpretation.
Okay.
So viewers, keep on listening to us and subscribe to this channel. And we will be all waiting anxious for our learned judges to make decision. And for God's sake, please make decision on Ram Temple as well. We have taken 70 years and 70 years, and then only a few hours to allow few gentlemen to travel to Srinagar is something which we do not understand, just cannot understand. But again, we are not judged. You are the judge.
So one thing I must tell all our viewers, that at least I can tell you the mood of US, that Indian Americans were very, very, very happy with the decision to repeal Article 370, and it is viewed very positively by all Indian Americans, regardless of faith. And the problem is being made only by Pakistanis, and that too it's a sponsored problem. Many of the Pakistanis don't care about Kashmir in any case, who are in the US. But few people who are sponsored by the ISI, especially in US and Canada, they are the ones who are making more noise. And there are some pseudo patriotic Pakistanis who only care about Punjabi interests in Pakistan. They don't care about Sindhis, Balochis, they don't care about Pashtuns, they don't care about Muhajirs, and the Ahmadiyya, Shia, like they don't care, and they really don't care. So there are those few minorities, and they are the ones creating problems. In the US, I can tell you one thing: Khalistan movement is non-existent in the US. It's mostly run from Canada. There are few people in the Central Valley, California, who support Khalistanis. There are one Gurdwara I know, but they are also, most of them are my friends, and there is a very small minority there too. Like those people don't even go to the Gurdwara regularly. So US is all for India and united Punjab, and Sikh is very much integrated with us, including our attorney friends who are Sikh. So Khalistan issue is non-existent in US. It's only run from Canada, and that too Toronto. So and we are working on that. Let's see how we can bring that back on track. But a lot of funding from ISI and the Pakistani embassy in Canada. If Indian External Affairs Ministry is watching it, then they need to counter the propaganda through RAW or some other intelligence agencies, because it's beyond civilian power. We don't have the power to counter ISI propaganda. So I'll end it here.
This and more.
Yes, go ahead.
We'll discuss this. This was all this in the next show, which is more political in nature. Right now, this was between Supreme Court and Government of India. The next show will be in detail on that. Thank you, Victor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please continue subscribing and keep watching.